In this video, we are going to look at the assessment failing for teachers. We will look at two main ways of failing the assessment. That is the online entry, and then we have the offline entry with Excel sheet upload. We will start by logging into our account. So if you don't already have an account, you need to create one, and you can watch my previous videos on how to do this. Once you are logged in, you would be, as a teacher, you would be shown the list of courses which you are teaching. So in order to fill the assessment for any of these courses, you have to click on it. So we start by choosing social studies for this demonstration. So by clicking on it, you come to the teacher gateway. Now these are the menu items on the teacher gateway. In case any of these menu items is missing, it's two things. It's either you don't have the right, or you've not been given the right to do what that menu item provides, or you've not registered your period. So check the period at the bottom here to see if the correct period has been selected. If not, then you have to register the period. And if you have, and still you don't have any of the items, it could also be that you've not registered your students. So you have to register your students. You can watch the video on the initial setup for teachers on how to do these things. Now we would jump straight to the assessment by clicking on the assessment menu item here, which brings us to the assessment menu. In the assessment menu, we have four options: entry, upload, template, and compute scores. In order to perform the online entry, we have to use the first option here. So online entry means that you would enter the scores one by one by clicking and entering it with the score entry form. So we use the entry option, and that brings us to the assessment form. Now, by default, the period, which is the current period you are in, will be selected here. You don't have to do anything. And within this place, you have the list of assessment points. So that is Cat 1, Cat 2, maybe homework, group work, exam, depending on how your school admin has set this up for you. Now, in order to fill the assessment for any of the categories, you have to select it. So, for example, I'm going to select Cat 1, and immediately I do that, you see that the table here now is filled with the student list, and then the score they have in the category that you have selected. Here, I've already keyed in some data, so you see the original data is here. However, if there is nothing, then this score out of 100, it could be 100 depending on the setup for your school, and the contribution will all be 0. But in entering, what you have to enter is the score, and you have to know whether it's out of 100, it's out of 50. The contribution will be calculated automatically by the system. So basically what you do is you have to click on any of the students. So starting with John Mensah, I click on it. It pops up John Mensah, and then I have to enter the score. So for example, I'll change this to 95, and then I'll save it. So you see that it now reflects 95 for John Mensah, and then the convention is the contribution is also automatically updated. Then you go to the next student, you click, and then you enter the score, and then you save. So this is how you do it step by step for each student. You just click, it opens, and then you enter the score, and then you save. Once you are done with all, or even somewhere in between the middle, you can save your progress by clicking on this save button up here and then accepting it. So this will save it, and then you can continue updating it. Now, after everything, you can move on to the next assessment. So let me change this from 96 to 98, for example. And then I can then go to the next category. But because I've made changes to Cat 1, it asks me whether the changes to the previous category should be saved. So I can say yes. And then it first saves the Cat 1 changes that I've made. And this is because I made changes and I didn't save it. And then it moves on to Cat 2. Then the same way you can enter the scores for Cat 2 by clicking on the student and then entering the math. So you click on a student and then you enter the math step by step. Afterwards, you save it. So this is how you do the online entry. Very simple. You click on an item, you enter score, you click, you enter, and then once you've made some progress, you can save. Continue doing that until you fill the score for everyone. Very simple. So I've finished with the online entry format. So I'll close it once I'm done by clicking on the cancel button. Now we will look at how to work offline with Excel sheets. So this is very important in case you are in an area where the internet connection is a bit slow and therefore you want to work offline and then come back later on to update your scores. So this is also possible. Now we do so by first creating a template. So you click on template, and this is going to download. It will open a file dialog, and then you select where you want to save it, and then you save the template. So this is not showing on the screen, but this is what is happening. So I've saved the template now, and the template looks something similar to what you have on the screen now. Now from this template, what you do is you fill in the scores under the various columns of categories. So with the Excel template, you can fill all the categories at a go. So here it comes with the existing scores. That is, if you have already made some entry, it will automatically populate the Excel with those entries, and then you can update it. You can make your changes. So let's see, I change this to 95. I change this to 60. This is 70. And then just to make it easier, I will change this to 90, this to 90, so that we'll use that to test. So under Cat 1 and Cat 2, later when we upload, we will check for this student, John Mensah. Now, where there are no scores, so for example, you have only done Cat 1, the rest are not, then you can fill all of them with zeros. So basically, if you want to only fill Cat 1 and not these ones, then you fill these ones with zeros before you upload. So after making your changes, you can now save your file, your Excel file, and then what you do is at another time, so after filling it, this could be days, maybe a day or two, you filled it without the need for internet, you've done this offline. Then now you go back to the app, you open your app, you log in, you come to the same place where you created a template, but this time around you click on upload. You click on upload, which brings the upload assessment upload form, also automatically filled with the term matching the period down here. Now at this point you scroll down, you see this button which says select file. You click on it and this will allow you to select the Excel file that you have filled. So it allows you to select, and then it will load the data from the Excel file here for you. So this contains all the categories, the scores from all the categories. Once this is, you can quickly have a check, and it will be multiple pages depending on the number of students you have. Once you have checked everything and it's fine, you can click on the save button, which is both down here and also up here, to save the changes that you have made into the database. So this might take some time, but it would eventually work because of the number of students and also the number of categories. Good. So it's finished saving successfully, and now we are done with the offline uploading of assessment. Now, the final thing you do after the assessment is the computation of scores. Now, this is not going to show any form, but it's an action that you take, and this would result in the computation of the ranks, the positions of the students, also would calculate the grading and everything. So after you filled and you now are okay with the scores, then you come here and then you click on compute scores. So this will basically just go through some process and then it's done. So the scores has been computed. We should also note that without computing the scores, our report and everything will not show because we've not finalized our scores. And this would also make the scores available to the parents when they check their child's account. So this is very important. We should not forget. And anytime you make changes, so assuming I've finished computing the scores and I realize that I made a mistake or there is a student I've not filled or something, I can always come back, go through either this or even use the upload approach to correct the scores. But after everything, after the correction is done, I have to click on this compute score button to recompute the grading and everything again. So this is very important and we should not forget this. That would be all for the assessment filling for teachers. See you again in the next video. Bye.